This is a web application that LMG worked on, our penetration testing team. And we did what's called a web app security assessment on this. It's one of the services that we offer for actually primarily this purpose. We want to take a look at your web app, see if there's a problem with it, and see if you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation by releasing that product. So this was a business application for a client that we were working with, used by a financial institution, and it was used to process sensitive documents that were provided by customers. Nice application to have, especially if you're working in the banking industry. If you need to submit things like your driver's license or passport or any other kind of verification info, nice to be able to just do that through the cloud through an app. I mean, it's simple. This application was developed by an outsourced cybersecurity firm. So the bank didn't, or the financial institution didn't build this themselves. They farmed this work out to a software development company. Software development company charged them a ton of money to make this, claimed that it was fully secure, but before it went live, they decided to have us take a look at it. And we were actually able to reveal multiple flaws inside this application. I have a couple of the more egregious ones here, but let's take a look at one. So what you see here on the screen is us looking at the calls that are being made back and forth with this application. And you can see up here at the top, we have token access token username and token access token password. We were actually able to, while we were logged in as a regular user account, change the passwords for any other user account that was on that system, including the administrator accounts. So if we just knew that an administrator account was there and we knew the name of it, we could go ahead and change the password, and now we have access to it. That is not something you want a standard level user being able to do in an application, period. There is no excuse for something like that out there. There were other problems that were very similar to this. In fact, they also had the press F12 to view sensitive information problem, but this was just a couple of examples. It also underscores the importance of testing your web application. So I mentioned before, this was a web app security assessment. Automated scans against applications like this can't find everything. So if you're doing a web app security assessment or an application assessment, what you're doing is basically hiring an ethical hacker to come in and find those weaknesses. They can take the results of a scan and extrapolate from there. And oftentimes they find a lot more than a scan just will. This is essential for understanding what your risk is going to look like. We want to identify issues ahead of time, make sure they're fixed, and make sure that just by virtue of having an application out there, you're not exposing data that you shouldn't be. Along with the coding errors, we also found vulnerable third-party components being used inside of this application. And this, again, is not an uncommon situation for people to find themselves in. In a lot of cases, these applications are built with a lot of open source libraries. And in some more recent cases than others, we've seen these types of open source software libraries cause massive issues for, well, people all around the world. In this case, we saw vulnerable instances of the movement.js library. We saw a PDF producer that was ripe for exploitation, and a lot more. This is just a couple of the ones that we found. So common web app security issues, these are the ones that we see the most frequently when we're doing these web app security assessments. The first thing we see are what are referred to as injection attacks. And I want you to pay attention to that first one there, the SQL injection or SQL injection attack. This is like the MoveIt attack. I mean, frankly, this is what happened with MoveIt. The MoveIt servers that were responsible for tons of data loss just a couple of months ago were broken with this exact vulnerability. It's somewhat common. We also see things like broken or weak authentication. We see server misconfigurations. We see API security issues, vulnerable components, no logging or monitoring available. I mean, the list kind of goes on. So have those applications tested, have them checked out, make sure you're not falling victim to any of these.
Thank you so much, everyone. Again, my name is Matt Duran, Director of Training and Research for LMG Security. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time. We would love to hear from you. You can reach me at info@lmgsecurity.com, find me on LinkedIn, or follow us on Twitter. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.